stuff here. We got Lightning Bolt. That's a new one. Just kidding. 2-second cast, I think that's fine. Fires a bolt of lightning, dealing moderate nature damage and generating 15 Maelstrom. Alright, so we have a Maelstrom generator, and it sounds like it's going to be a pretty low damaging, how about some beers? I was going to, but fuck it. A pretty low damaging, spell. Alright, so 2-second cast, 8-second cooldown. Hurl molten lava at the target, dealing strong fire damage. If your flame shock is on the target, lava burst will deal 50% additional damage. Alright, so re-totem stuff? What, this? Is this all totem stuff? Alright, hold on 1 second. So lava burst seems basically the same, but also generates 15 Maelstrom. Wait, so is this totem stuff? The use of totems is integral for Shamans, I don't know, archetype, and we're addressing some persistent issues with their mechanics. For a long time, there have been significant constraints associated with totems, like the fact that they can only be dropped to the Shaman's feet, or the fact that they only have 5 health, or that no more than one of the same elemental types can be active at a time. While these constraints were intended to ensure the totems felt unique, they ultimately drove us to create strange tools to allow the Shaman to bypass such constraints, such as totemic projection or totemic persistence. In Legion, we're eliminating the awkwardness in a simple way and simply removing the constraints. Interesting. Totems of the same nature type can now be summoned together, allowing you to have at the same time. Wow. Wow. Elemental is no longer tied to totems, but are the guardians that follow and assist you. Totem's maximum health will equal a percentage of your health. In addition, I wonder what the percentage is, because right now, like, for example, this Vigor Totem is pretty fucking trash, but I'm glad to see it's going to be passive. Like, 2% is so bad. I think 5% was a good number. So I think 5% is pretty good. 10% would be even better. Totems that need to be placed at a specific location will be directly placed using a target reticle. So is that going to be like this? Like, I could place my healing stream? That's going to be fucking insane. That's gonna be crazy if I could just like literally just like place my healing stream where I want. It's also gonna be kind of annoying. Like sometimes like when I throw my healing stream down, imagine if I had to do that every 30 seconds. I feel like I'd get annoyed. You know what I mean? How do you guys feel about that? You know, you would constantly be using the target, like we'll see. I mean, it might get annoying, but especially like for every single totem, like searing totem, I don't think it'll apply for all totems. Alright, we'll see. But, I mean, I think it's a good change, but I think it could be pretty annoying in PvP. Yeah, I mean, throwing Windwalk Totem and throwing Healing Stream when melee are on you, honestly, it's like something that Shamans needed for so long to do well against melee. When Shamans get trained by melee, it actually feels like you can't do anything to keep your totems alive, so that's gonna be a huge fucking change, man. Alright, so, elementals are no longer tied, we already read that. In addition, totems that need to be placed, okay, we read that. If you want to place Earth Grab target in the middle of a big pack of nasty orcs, you can do that without having to run into the nastiness, or use a separate spell to throw them there. Interesting. You can do that without having to run into the nastiness, or use a separate spell to throw them there. So that sounds like there might be a way to, you know, always press it on the ground. Like, there might be a way to toggle it. Yeah, like Totem Launcher. Yeah, there might be a way to toggle that. That's interesting. In general, totem mechanics are concentrated around temporary effects, either beneficial or hostile in a localized area, or opposed to a maintenance buff. Oh, as opposed to a maintenance buff. Cooldowns you need to make sure are up at all times. Finally, we're bringing back needed clarity to Rest of Shaman resources, particularly to move away from disguising a couple key resources as buffs. Lightning Shield charges for Elemental Shaman, Maelstrom charges for... wait. Oh, just Shaman resources in general. I read it as Rest of Shaman. Maelstrom charges for the Enhancement Shaman, and Mana has been replaced for Elemental Enhancement. With a new resource, Maelstrom, Mana is fitting Rest of Shaman resource, and will remain for that spec. Okay. So, totems, you're going to be able to move them around. They're going to have health. That's good news for totems. Like, that's a strong PvP change that I think is you know, kind of been needed for a long time. The thing is, like, when totems originally came out, they had 5 health and they were easily countered by anything. But here's the thing, like, if you dropped Healing Stream back in the day and someone killed it, you could drop it again. You could drop it again right after that. You could drop it again. You could drop it again. You could drop it again. But now that it has a 30-second cooldown and it still has 5 health, it feels so much clunkier. You know what I mean? So totems in general got a lot stronger, but continued to stay weak defensively. When in general, if they got a lot stronger, they should have been, more difficult to kill because you couldn't keep them down at all times. But yeah. All right, so Flame Shock. 0 to 20 Maelstrom. Shears the target with fire, causing minor fire damage and additional minor fire damage over every 2 seconds. Lasts 10 to 30 seconds based on Maelstrom spent. So I guess what this is saying is that you can use Flame Shock at all times, but if you have up to 20 Maelstrom, it'll use the Maelstrom to make the Flame Shock last longer. I think that's fine. Not really too exciting. 10 to 100 Maelstrom. Okay, so this is the new, what is it? What is that thing called when they get the fucking charges? This is the new Earthshock burst. I forget what it was called. Can someone tell me the name? Instantly shocks the target with concussive force, causing massive nature damage based on Maelstrom spent. No shock cooldowns. Oh wow, no cooldowns at all. I didn't notice that. That's pretty interesting. Good catch, guys. Fulmination. Yeah, this looks like the new Fulmination. Once you get full Maelstrom, that could be pretty dangerous. That could be pretty dangerous. Lava Surge. Your Flame Shock damage over time has a chance to reset the cooldown on Lava Burst and cause your next Lava Burst to be instant. I still absolutely despise this change. This change in PvP is the #1 reasons that Elemental Shamans can't be like a heavy damaging class. You know what I mean? If something has the chance to be instant, imagine if Destro Warlocks had, chance for instant Chaos Bolts. They would literally have to cut the Chaos Bolt damage in half, I liked it when Lava Burst had a set cooldown, and if they got it off, it did a huge percentage of your damage, but it wasn't instant. There was always a way to counter it. So it's still kind of annoying to see that this is in the game. I was hoping something like this would be removed. I was never a fan of when they added this. Grants a 40% chance of mastery for Elemental Overlord to occur. Chain Lightning or Lava Burst spells to trigger second, similar. Yeah, that's the same thing. Alright, so Maelstrom Totem. So a new totem. Summons a Maelstrom Totem near the target for 15 seconds that repeatedly attacks an enemy within 30 yards for moderate nature damage. Every time that Maelstrom Totem attacks, it will generate 5 Maelstrom for you. Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. Cool new class design. We're gonna have to see how it works. Like, is Maelstrom gonna cause, or is healing gonna have to be based off Maelstrom? Like, for example, this is such a small taste. So like, if I was Elemental and I wanted to Healing Surge my partner, how much Maelstrom is that? Because since it doesn't cost mana, it has to cost Maelstrom. Everything is going to cost Maelstrom. Unless for some weird reason it would generate Maelstrom, but I think that would be pretty disgusting. I think the heals would have to be based off of a resource. So what if it's like 5 Maelstrom, or if it's 10 Maelstrom? I don't know. I'm talking about for Elemental. You won't have Maelstrom. I'm talking about for Elemental, guys. For Elemental. Yeah, for Elemental. That totem does not matter for us. So guys, Jesus, can you keep up? We're on Elemental Shamans. So how do Elemental Shamans heal is what I'm asking about. So it costs Maelstrom for Elemental Shamans. I wonder if it's going to be a tiny bit. It's got to be a reasonable enough bit that you could actually like kind of run out, so you can't spam it. Just make it cost nothing. That would be retarded. Because you're basically eliminating mana and you're giving the options for Elemental Shamans to be able to heal forever. Yeah, I think, oh my god, Ven, I hate you so much. Ven, you want to play some RMD tonight, bro? Okay, so Enhancement, Rockbiter. Assault your target with an earthen power, dealing moderate nature damage and generating 15 Maelstrom. So Rockbiter hasn't been a part of the game for a long time, so is this just like an attack? Like you're just gonna have a Rockbiter attack? I guess so. What the fuck? This seems so strange. So you have a Rockbiter attack, and you have a Flame Tongue attack. So, Rockbiter is 10-yard range, instant, no cooldown. No cooldown. So you could literally just spam that for Maelstrom. Weird. 12-second cooldown for Flame Tongue. Scorch your target with fiery power, dealing moderate fire damage and enhancing your weapons. Each of your weapon attacks cause up to minor additional fire damage based on weapon speed. Lasts 16 seconds. So I guess you just use this every 16 seconds. You always want your weapons buffed for the little extra fire damage. Each of your main hand attacks have a 7% chance of triggering 3 extra attacks dealing minor physical damage. So Wind Fury standard. Oh, I actually thought maybe Flame Tongue would have got rid of Lava Lash. So already off the bat, I feel like the Enhancement Shaman rotation is already so much more difficult. You have something else you need to maintain with Flame Tongue. You have a filler spell that you can use at all times. Lava Lash is still here. Charge your offhand weapon with lava, dealing strong fire damage. Oh, wow. Okay, so here's the thing. So it looks like Lava Lash and Storm Strike actually cost a ton of Maelstrom. So you're gonna gain Maelstrom with actually, Flame Tongue doesn't even give you Maelstrom. So you gain Maelstrom with Rock Biter. Use Flame Tongue every 16 seconds to keep the buff up. And it looks like Rock Biter's your filler, so you use your Flame Tongue, then you spam Rock Biter, and then when you get enough Maelstrom, you could use Lava Lash or Storm Strike. Um, Interesting. 60 Maelstrom melee range, 16-second cooldown. So Storm Strike has the big cooldown, so you probably want to use this as often as possible. But when you have Maelstrom, you probably want to dump it on Lava Lash until Storm Strike comes back up. Energize your weapons with lightning and deliver a massive blow to your target, dealing heavy physical damage. So this is the biggest damaging attack you have. When you deal damage with a melee weapon, you generate 5 Maelstrom. Wow, that's just passive. I mean, I assume you're going to have a ton of Maelstrom at all times. What's the Maelstrom cap? Does anyone know? Is it just 100? Interesting. Each of your attacks have a 2% chance to cause Storm Fury, resetting the cooldown on Storm Strike and causing your next Storm Strike to cost 50% less Maelstrom and trigger no cooldown. Okay. Okay. And then the Mastery increases the chance for Storm Fury and Wind Fury to trigger. Probably 100, pretty sure 100. Okay. That's what I thought. Oh, it's 420? That's actually what I thought too. I thought it'd be 420 Maelstrom. Alright. So Enhancement Shamans, I think this change is looking good. It feels like the rotation is getting more difficult, you know. Whoever manages keeping their Flame Tongue up the most, whoever manages, you know, effectively using their Storm Fury for Storm Strikes and stuff like that. So much as like Enhancement Shaman kind of always was, it always felt like you were pressing a button, like even in this expansion. Actually, in other expansions, maybe not, but I guess the main button you would press in other expansions is Purge. It feels like you will literally never not be attacking on Shaman. Like you'll go in, you'll use your Flame Tongue, and then you Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Storm Strike, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Lava Lash, Rock Biter, Rock Biter, Lava Lash. So it looks like you're actually just gonna have 100% global usage, and as long as the damage isn't as long as the damage isn't too ridiculous, it kind of seems good, because if you're sacrificing time for purges and stuff like that, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage, because not only are you losing out on the Rock Biter damage, you're losing the chance to gain Maelstrom and stuff like that. Now here's the question we have to ask ourselves. With no Fury, with no mana for Elemental Enhancement Shaman, what's going to happen with Purge? What's going to happen with the heals? There's abilities that cost mana for those classes. Is Hex going to cost anything? Is it going to cost Maelstrom? Is Purge going to cost Maelstrom? You know, like, you have to ask yourselves these questions, because there needs to be a resource on abilities like Purge. There has to be. It can't be free. Everything needs to cost a resource. I could understand Hex not costing a resource, but, you know, is Purge going to cost Maelstrom? You know, what about totems? So we need to see what they're going to do with that. And yeah, same with healing. Purge on a 6-second cooldown, no cost for both specs. I can understand that, maybe. Okay, so here's a specific talent. 20-second cooldown that costs 60 Maelstrom. Shatter a line of earth before you, causing strong physical damage and knocking enemies to the side. That's interesting. Sounds like you could probably use that to stop cast. Shatter a line of earth before you. I wonder how far it goes. You know, but that sounds pretty cool. 60 Maelstrom. It's the same amount of Maelstrom as Storm Strike. So, you know, with this being the same amount of Maelstrom as Storm Strike, this seems like it must have some sort of like niche role. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you'd probably use Maelstrom. You'd probably use Sundering every single time over Storm Strike if it did enough damage. So we'll have to see how that works. All right, so Elemental Shaman, kind of disappointed in, because I think instant lava bursts are really silly still. I'm not a big fan of that. The generating Maelstrom, hopefully it's just balanced well. Yeah, I think it's probably a pretty cool idea. Enhancement Shaman, I'm pretty happy with. I think they're making the spec a little more difficult. They're adding more fillers. I don't really like the idea of a filler, but since it's just like generating, you know, it's just gonna generate like combo points. Alright, so Resto Shamans. This is what we really care about. 2.5 second cast for Healing Wave. I'm pretty sure that's what it is now. It gets lowered by tidal waves. Moderate, 1.5 second cast, 4.1% of mana. I'm kind of curious to see what the mana pools look like to other healers, but yeah. Chain Heal, we don't really care about, it's still expensive. Healing Juice, yeah, that's same. Riptide, instant 6-second cooldown, that's the same. It's really cheap. I think we need to recognize that. Healing them for a moderate amount, an additional moderate amount over 18 seconds. So it sounds pretty unconvincing that Riptide is going to be that good. Moderate amount with a moderate hot, that's kind of shitty. Healing Stream is exactly the same. A minor amount every 2 seconds. Wow, so Healing Stream might actually even be worse. It's hard for me to judge what they mean by minor, moderate, you know, stuff like that. Tidal Waves. Wow, they're bringing back Tidal Waves? Tidal Waves was in the game of the Wrath of the Lich King. When you cast... Oh, wait, no. Fucking... That was Tidal Force. Son of a bitch. This is the passive. When you cast Chain Heal or Riptide, you gain Tidal Waves, reduce the cast time of your Healing Wave, or increase the critical strike chance of your Healing Surge. Lame. Oh, wow. I wonder if they're nerfing Shamans, because right now it says stacks up to 2 times, but right now as Shaman, it gives you 2 stacks. So... you might not actually be able to have 2 stacks of tidal waves at all times. So like right now if I use Riptide, it gives you 2 tidal waves. So if this only gives you 1 tidal waves now, since it's saying stacks up to 2 times, you know, based off how many chain heals or how many Riptides you use, that's actually kind of shitty. Like that could be a pretty big nerf, you know. Like sometimes if you Riptide and then you Healing Surge, you're going to miss out on that crit. It's 10% increase. I think it's still 30% right now, but maybe it's not. Oh, 20% cast time reduction. So it's actually 40% now. And instead of 30% crit, is it? It's 40% crit. So they're actually buffing tidal waves pretty hard, but they're making it more difficult to get. Alright, interesting. So the 40% reduction on Healing Wave is actually pretty crazy. Let's look at the cast time on it. It should be 2.5 base. Right? Maybe not with like haste and stuff. Yeah, it's probably about 2.5 base, and 40% off this. This is with 20% off. So honestly, Resto Shamans might only use Healing Wave next patch, and what this means is that actually next expansion they won't use only Healing Wave. You might actually use Healing Wave with your tidal waves because it's going to be so efficient. It's about half the mana cost. I think it's going to be dependent on the situation, but I think the Healing Wave cast time is going to be right around the same cast time as the Healing Surge, which is pretty good. Alright, Mastery Deep Healing. Increase the potency of your healing spells by up to 60%. Honestly, this is a really overpowered mastery, and I think it's something that if Shamans didn't have currently, they could be really bad. So I'm kind of happy to see it, but in the same sense, I still think it's kind of unexciting. Alright, so here's a new talent that Shamans can get. Wellspring. 30-yard range, 1.5 second cast, 12-second cooldown. Creates a surge of water that flows forward, healing all friendly targets in a wide arc in front of you for a strong amount. So 2.4% of mana, healing AoE for a strong amount, as opposed to 4.1% healing one person for a moderate amount for the same cast time. So Wellspring looks like something that's actually going to be really, really important just based off of the reading. It might be more difficult to land, but creates a surge of water that flows forward. Sounds like a pretty cool spell. 12-second cooldown, 1.5 second cast, 30-yard range. It's pretty cheap on mana. It's cheaper than Healing Surge and heals for more and heals multiple people. So, you know, I think this is just like a tiny. I think this is just a tiny glimpse of what the class is going to actually look like. So basically, to me, Resto Shaman looks exactly the same. Unfortunately, I guess we're just kind of hoping that Blizzard gives us like the right percentages and, you know, gets the numeric value down. I can't really say anything with the Resto Shaman excites me too much, but I mean, this, like, hopefully there's more cool abilities like this. Like Wellspring looks cool, so I'm not disappointed with Resto Shamans. I'm not like, holy shit, like fucking this is like Shadow Priest cool, because they didn't do a full revamp on it. Enhancement Shamans look pretty good. Ellie Shamans kind of look a little disappointing. We can go over the other ones if you guys want. So what else do we got down here?